Welcome to Season 3 of Locker Room for Growth, a show with human-centric conversations that include compelling stories, unique professions, and those who set the tone for living with a positive attitude. I'm your host, Debbie Elicksen. Please subscribe to the show and check out our past episodes and clips. Follow me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and more. Now let's meet our next guest.
Csongor Daniel is one of the first officially recognized bioenergy healers and the author of 4 books, including Bioenergy Healing, Simple Techniques for Reducing Pain and Restoring Health Through Energetic Healing. Among those who have sung his praises, one reader said it's the best healing book they've ever bought. He defines human energy from the quantum physical point of view. His practical applications help others to manipulate energy and matter to stop headaches and pain. Because his sessions don't require touch, he has become the master of long-distance healing. Daniels is also an engineer, master marksman, motorcycle builder, and rider. He speaks several languages, is the first honorary president of the International Biotherapy Association based in the UK, and the CEO of Kanyarfoto, a photography site for motorcycle enthusiasts. One of his goals is to teach others how to heal themselves. Please welcome Csongor Daniel.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Wow, what an intro.
So you do have quite a diverse background. But I want to know what it was like growing up in Yugoslavia.
Imagine the United States squeezed into a country the size of Florida. So it had mountains, it had the Adriatic, it had everything relatively close, and in the middle of Europe, an hour away, we could be in Hungary, or the other way in Romania, or so on. So it was the time of freedom for us. I mean, we didn't know that we're growing up in the middle of communism, because it wasn't like the one that we would see from the Soviet Union or such. We had free passports to travel, and we did a lot. It was a big thing. So it wasn't bad. You know, it's if you're a good student, college is free.
Wow.
Free healthcare. It was truly providing to everybody. I didn't know of any homeless people in the country at all. So it had some advantages. Of course, it had a lot of, I guess, economic help from the West for a while. Once that stopped and Tito died, everything fell apart. So it became 6 countries. And nowadays, if you walk around and if you check those countries, most of them would want it the old ways. Most people liked it the old way better than it is now. But hey, I mean, I don't know. You know, everybody has good memories from their youth, I suppose, or most people do. If you go back, it's really going back for your youth, and not just for the place. But it was interesting, and it was full of different experiences, except for specifically the healing experience, which I have never encountered, I think, until it happened to me. So up to that point, I was focused on engineering. I was focused on things that made logic to me.
What type of engineering work did you do?
I ended up with industrial safety engineering. So it had elements of everything, of machine engineering, of architecture, of fire and explosion protection and such. So it was very diverse, and it worked great for my brain. I needed to know a lot of things, and I didn't realize it at that time that I needed several things to fulfill every aspect of my brain. In a day, I could go from gentle meditation to 100 miles an hour on a motorcycle or such, and it would be just a normal day. You know,
Well, that
I
need
think it
for
would be the
speed is
perfect day.
probably a good break from daily life, right?
Well, I think everybody's life needs some kind of a balance.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just do one thing. Even if you're the best musician in the world and you sing all day long, At one point, you need something else. You'd go nuts, I think, at least from my point of view. And maybe some people's brains work different. So I'm open to every combination.
And you mentioned that Yugoslavia is where you learned about biohealing, and how did that come about?
Well, I was actually halfway through engineering studies when we had a family friend visiting. He was an editor in a big publishing house in Belgrade, and my dad's old friend. And he was talking about this new thing that he started doing, like feeling the energy and talking about the energy fields of the body. So I kind of listened. I was working on some project in the other room, but most of the time my dad was sarcastic about it. So I went to check it out. And when he showed me about this energy, I was like, whoa, wait a second, I can feel it. And as a matter of fact, I felt this my whole life. I just never knew what it was. So he showed me a few things, how to stop some pain and how to induce energy healing, all in a nutshell, you know. He didn't know much more than that either. So we kind of learned together. This made me want to learn more about it. The more I practiced, the more I felt it. Then a couple of days later, I tried it on a friend who was a ultra marathon runner. Always had an ankle pain. And so we tried it by his ankle, and he said, "Oh man, I feel this." And I was like, "Yeah, I feel this." And the heat, the tingling, the feelings that go with this. And his pain stopped. And we were sitting there, well, wow, this is cool, but um, what else do I do with this? Nobody was teaching this. There was nothing in the literature out there about this. So I used to travel a lot with my dad. We would go over to Hungary. I'm from a Hungarian family. So we would get books from Hungary. They were very cheap at the time, and there was an abundance of books. Now, this is pre-cell phone and pre-Google, so we were eating up books left and right. And here and there, I would find something about maybe Eastern philosophy or such, or even some things about Qigong and acupuncture and so on, but nothing concrete about what this guy was talking about or this energy healing. And so it went on for a while when one day my mom's back was hurting. And by then I kind of figured, well, maybe I pulled the pain out or so. I looked at it energetically, but also as if I were visualizing some surplus of energy or such. So this was still in baby shoes. I had no idea what I was doing. My mom is standing in front of me, and I go behind her and I visualize pulling this energy out. And all of a sudden, my mom starts moving back. I'm like, whoa. I push my hand forward, my mom goes forward. I pull my hand back, my mom is leaning back, and back and forth like that a few times. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? She goes, Nothing. What are you doing? So I don't know, but I realized that I could move her without touching her. Now, at 2021, what do you do with that knowledge? Well, you go to the pub and tell your buddies, right? So, of course, the first reaction is, yeah, right. You know, Second reaction is show me, So I tried it on one of them and I was able to pull him back. By the time it was the third or the fourth buddy who stood in, we were already betting in beer, who's going to move, who's not. So that was the beginning of a brilliant career in healing.
Wow.
Of course, that changed everything. You're in possession of this power, but what do you do with it? I
Yeah.
didn't know if I can move things or just people or what, and who teaches this or what's going on. 2 weeks later, we watched the TV, and it's sort of like evening news special edition or what it was, uh, the Yugoslav version of it. And they showed this guy in Croatia doing healing. And this was on a small island, and the aerial shots showed these people winding around these small streets, waiting in line, like snaking through it. And when they showed him in work, he was bending people and moving them and stuff without touching them. from several feet and such. And I was like, whoa, there's somebody else who can do that, and somebody who can maybe teach me everything about it. So again, this was pre-Google, pre-cell phones, pre-everything. I finally got in touch with somebody on the island. It was a hotel clerk who informed me that, yeah, Mr. Domancic has left the island already.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, well, where can I find him? I don't know. So that was it. Another 2 weeks go by. My marathon runner buddy from down the street ran over with the newspaper. Get it? There was an article about a professor in Belgrade who was measuring the energy fields of the body and who could tell everything about you by measuring those. And at those times, if you go by measuring things, you can measure in the radio. You have amps, ohms, volts, and such. So I was able to squeeze in. I begged myself in because it was last minute, and I said I really needed to get some directions here. And so he took me in. At the end of the day, he pulled me over like, hey, look, you were born to be a healer. All the numbers match up and whatnot. It's great, but they don't teach it at my college. I'm not part of engineering, not part anywhere here. And the one guy I wanted to learn from, I have no idea where he is. So don't worry about it. I got the perfect person for you. And we hopped in the car and the same day drove outside of Belgrade and went to a hotel where he introduced me to Mr. Domancic.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was looking for it. Goosebumps each time. And so at that time, he rented out the whole hotel, and the downstairs where the disco would have been became the treatment center. And hundreds of people would come in every day. And even while sitting there waiting for their turn, there was so much energy circulating in that room that people would get better. You'd walk in with a headache, 5 minutes later, walk out, and you
Wow.
didn't even get a treatment. So, I mean, that shows how powerful this method was. The other one is moving things around and such. You create another experience for the mind and for the eyes that will convince you that you will be healed. So that's an extra plus of doing group treatments like that.
Mm. So why is it a healing method without giving away your secrets?
Well, all my secrets are given away. They're not secrets. When I came to the States, at one point I started teaching Qigong and Tai Chi, and you can't do it without explaining what the energy was. And I realized that all these old ladies I was teaching here, I'm in Florida, it's full of retired people, and they come to these classes. And so a gentle method is very appreciated, but also you teach about the energy. And I realized that all of them can feel it. And then I realized that if I taught them, all of them could see it. And if I taught them, all of them could manipulate it to stop pain. And I all of a sudden realized that I wasn't so special, you know. But literally everybody and anybody can do this. My 2-year-old daughter, when she was mimicking my moves, I was working on her grandfather's knee, and they were painful, and she did the other knee at 2, no idea what she was doing, just mimicking my stuff. It worked just as well. I mean, we all flipped out like, oh my God, he's better. And she did it. So eventually we wrote a book about it for kids so they can learn, because there's no prejudice in their minds. There's no preconception of health. So this is it. My kids grew up like that. You hit yourself, ooh, grab the pain and throw it away. Just like basically the energy. But to them, you explain it in a playful way and it works.
Wow.
So the method is systematized in a way that you know exactly what to do for an exact problem. So there's no guesswork, there's no divine guidance or whatnot. It's very specific. And again, I found the logic in it, and that's what helped me teach others what this is. Once you understand the entire universe around you, then this is not a hard thing to grasp. So technically, we know nothing of the universe, right?
True
We
that.
know very little things. we don't know what's beyond as far as we can see in the universe and beyond what we can see down here in the tiniest particles. So when you go down to the atomic structure, everything is made of mainly nothing. Lots and lots of empty space, like 0.0000001% of actual mass. And even that is questionable. And so in my book, I go into the quantum physics explanation of it and how even here we're 70% water. But if I
Yeah.
start jumping around, you can't hear it splashing, right?
No.
It's in trillions of cells, and there's a gazillion of molecules in there and an incredible number of atoms. It's just, we're all part of this, technically a matrix. If you watch the Matrix, it's very similar in many ways. Even today, you could create a world on your computer, right? It's 2D for now, but it's only a question of time when it's going to be 3D and you created a world. So all you need to do is understand the one you're in.
Yeah.
Right now you see the physical me, but my energetic me extends as far as I can reach here. And same for everybody. And this fluctuates all the time. You're happy, it gets wider. You're sad, it gets, smaller, weaker. You eat a good, live, fresh meal, it gets bigger. You eat a Big Mac, it gets smaller. So it changes with every thought. It changes with every view. It's part of you the entire time, and it's the very basic you. So when you take some pills or when you take some, oops, it disappeared.
No, you're still here.
Okay. So when you take vitamins, minerals, fresh fruit, vegetables, whatever you take, it eventually breaks down in your body, right? And it's first a chemical breakdown, first a mechanical, then chemical, and so on. But bottom line, it turns into energy, right? It will be thermal energy, it will be kinetic energy, and so on. So it's not hard to grasp that everything is electromagnetic in nature. We are surrounded by this electromagnetic field, which protects us in a way. Think of the spaceship Enterprise, and like, Scotty, our shield is down. So that's what happens in your body. When your shield is up, you're the strongest. Your immune system is strong. Your mind is strong. Your mind, body, spirit, everything is incorporated in this electromagnetic field.
So is this close to Reiki?
So Reiki calls the energy ki. I call it bioenergy. In China, they call it qi. So it's all different names for the same energy.
Okay.
Now, Reiki is a pretty good method. It's let's say it takes you from A to B, okay? Like a bicycle, but it takes you from A to B.
Right.
Now, in bioenergy healing, it's more like a motorcycle, like a Ducati compared to that bicycle. Okay.
Right on.
So it's sometimes one of my students said he was a 30-year Reiki practitioner, master, and after the first seminar, he switched to bioenergy healing.
Wow.
And so the next seminar, he happened to be there, and somebody else also came from Reiki. And how can you compare the two? He says, "Oh man, it's like Reiki on steroids." Reiki is missing a few elements compared to bioenergy healing. And those missing elements and the systematization of the movements makes it faster. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the easier you feel the energy, the easier you find the areas out of balance, the easier you put them back in. And
So,
as I said, anybody can learn it. You can do it on others. You can do it on yourself. There are methods for long distance healing. I have clients in Australia and incidentally in Canada as well. Except for long distance healing, I have to go into deep meditation and visualize the energy.
right.
While if you're next to me and I work like that, then it pretty much goes automatic with my hands after so many years. You know, you feel what you're doing, you feel when you're done. It comes over the years.
So are
Comes
there
to
some chronic health issues that it works better for than others, like long COVID, maybe arthritis, chronic muscle pain?
my favorite is pain. So anything with pain, I deal with quite fast. But I don't know, in the last year I had a really nice successful alopecia treatment from bald to, Amazon.
Wow.
It's hard to predict these things. I'm a little bit stumbled here because everybody's so different.
Yeah.
And so one person's headache may stop in a minute, the other ones will take 5 minutes. The one person's lump will disappear overnight, the other one may take a year. So lifestyles and many other things come in as a factor, and
Right.
it's hard to predict. Usually after 2 or 3 sessions, we know where we're standing. Most people need only about 5 sessions for long-term balancing. Some will take a lot more.
Mhm.
You pay for your lifestyle eventually.
Yeah, especially if people are not doing much to, like you say, just living on fast food compares to eating fresh fruit and vegetables and whatnot. So
Well, even
when
there,
you
it gets very complicated when you decide to live healthy and follow what's good for you and what's not. Then you can get down the rabbit hole very easily. Yeah, I mean, there are certain rules of chemistry and physics that you have to go by, for sure, number one. Then some nutritional rules. And now we have the knowledge. It's you can go on your computer, on your phone, literally just ask the question. You don't even have to know to read or write, and uh, and ask in essence what is good for you and what's not. But
Mhm.
there's so much information that by the time you sift through it, you can do and claim another degree. And so
You simplify the process.
so let's agree that we're all made of atoms, and the air is made of atoms around us. We can't really see it, but we know it's there, right? Now, every atom has an electromagnetic field around it. Just like that electron travels so fast that you could see like a ball, even though it's mainly nothing. Now, this electromagnetic field adds up to another and another and another, and you have this whole body with a collective energy field stemming out roughly as far as you can reach, like an eggshell around you. Also, inside your body, you have all kinds of other electromagnetic signals. All your nerves work on electricity. So we're electromagnetic beings. Now, this energy moves all the time, just like the entire universe moves all the time. There's nothing that is at complete stop. So this energy is supposed to move. It goes up in the front and goes down in the back. And also inside the body, it has its own circulation patterns, or just like in acupuncture, for the meridians where the energy travels. Now, if in your blood circulation there's a blockage, it creates problems, right? The same way, when there's a blockage in the energy circulation, it may create problems as well. And not just where the blockage is, but where the energy would go as well. So whenever you have too much energy, let's say accumulated around your head, there's a blockage in your neck and the energy can't flow down and it accumulates around your head, boom, you get a headache. Okay, too much energy. So you either numb it with some pills or whatnot, or you come and see me or call me. And all we do is we pull off that excess energy and jumpstart the energy flow down the spine so it doesn't accumulate again as it did. It may take a couple minutes, maybe 5 tops, but the pain goes away, the energy is restored, and that's that.
Hmm.
Now, if it was something more complicated, we don't always know why you got certain pain or why you have an issue. So that may take a little longer to actually find, but it's not impossible. I mean, that would be the ultimate goal, of course.
Yeah.
So going back to the source. So there are many ways to approach this, but it can be done within minutes. Although the strength of this method is that we always, whenever we can, balance the entire energy field. So we work with a specific area that has an issue, but also balance the entire energy field. And then one of the last moves is restarting the healthy energy flow. So pushing it up in the front. It looks funny, but it's one of the most powerful methods out there.
So,
The final result every time is you're in perfect balance. Now, your
mm,
body may not be able to hold on to it if it was out of balance for years. It's kind of like reworking an old battery to hold on to the electricity. And you keep on recharging it until it holds.
mm,
Once it holds, it gives your body back its natural environment where it can continue its natural function, which includes healing itself. So technically, I don't really heal you or anybody. I re-engineer their energy. So I'm like energy engineering at work here, you know. And
yeah, that's where
so
the engineering comes in handy.
yes, and really the ultimate goal is to give back the body that ability to heal itself.
Mm. And you must have seen so many great ways that this has helped people. And is there one particular example that really hones home that this is really, other than what your mentor has told you, this is really your life's work?
Oh, I mean, I can see it every day, and I was just showing my fiance the other day a message. It was quite long, and how I changed somebody's life, and my book turned their life around, and went on and on and on. And I've got so many of those already. But
Mm,
whenever you read something like that, if you only changed one person's life, it was already worth it. But
yeah,
when it gets into hundreds and then thousands, it beats everything else out there. It's not just the people that I healed, but more the ones that I taught how to do this themselves. I think it's a much bigger victory over whatever you're fighting when you do it yourself, or you help a family member or a relative or such. That's a big thing.
yeah. So what's next for you? Are you going to write another book? What's next on the table?
I wrote half a book during just the first few months of
During our
the
interview?
pandemic. The pandemic. Yeah. It will be more about motorcycling and
Oh,
touring and
cool.
going around the world, but it will have a philosophical element and definitely show your growth from beginning to the end and maybe stimulate other people to do such growths in their lives.
Yeah.
You know, at every age, you learn something new. When I finished college, I was like, oh, that's it. I don't have to learn anymore. You know, I was so wrong. And and then you're 30 and you think, oh, you're so smart. And then at 40, you look back and you think, oh my God, you were such a kid, you know,
Yeah.
and you keep going. And so I think as long as you learn, as long as you grow, you can stay young forever. And you can stay happy forever, and you can stay in love forever. These are all the things that drive you forward. That's
Yeah.
what you have to hold on to.
Thank you so much, Sanger. It was so wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you.
This is great.
Please visit my sites.
I will have the link to your media, your website and everything in
Absolutely. I have some amazing ways to showing it with some special effects. One of my cousins is in the film industry and he
oh cool.
put it together. So I have a whole online school if
Yes,
you
you have
are.
a great YouTube channel where you've got
Thank you. Thank you.
lots of video.
Even my book has, let me see, can you see it? Yep.
Yes.
It has various, let's see, QR codes
Right.
throughout it. So if through the pictures you don't understand things, there are over 30 videos that also explain
Oh, wow.
and show you how
So
to do
that
it.
takes
These
you
are
right
very
to the
short,
video.
just
Very
showing the
cool.
moves.
That's a great,
So
ingenious way to write a book.
thank you. Thank you for having me. It's
Oh, thank you so
wonderful
much.
to spread the word.
Yes.
This is Debbie Elicksen. Thank you to my guest and to you, the viewer, for watching this episode of Locker Room for Growth. Please subscribe to this channel and check out our past shows and clips in the YouTube playlist. The show broadcasts from Treaty 7 on Turtle Island, the traditional territory of the Blackfoot people, which includes Siksika, Blood, Piikani, Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda Nations, and Métis Nation Region 3. Again, thank you for watching and please subscribe.